My name is Ice, and this piece called Hats. Okay, it's inspired by my experience with my parents when I was talking to them casually, and then about some colors and like hats, and because our family did construction company, and then we suddenly talk about the hats, the helmets, safety helmets, and then my mom asked, "Oh, actually, which color you need it?" Then I realized that actually a safety helmet, there's many colors into it. And actually each of them represents certain roles. Like for example, if it's like general executive, you'll have like white one. And if you do something that's like road works or something, they wear like yellow. And there's also red, green, and etc. So it's very useful coding when you need to do work in construction. You know right away, oh, you do this job, you have this job. I think it's compared to like, you know, social roles that you need to fulfill, like your father, therefore you need to feed your family, your student, and your role is to this, to this, to this. And even certain roles feels like have meaning more than another. For example, being a full-time mom, it seems as a very necessary thing to do, but very not important, you know. So I use this like role hat to represent like a certain role I'm doing it, and having one light, I think inspired from my yoga practice, where whatever we do, whatever I say pose or dance we do in yoga, we only practice on the breath. So there's only one focus that I'm focusing, and the lights help me to almost like stabilize my breathing or my concentration to be very exactly where it should be. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay.
So maybe we open it to the floor perhaps, because the whole purpose of GOOSE is also not so much to show works that are completed, but to show works in progress.
Yeah.
Because the idea is to canvas for feedback from everybody as well. So perhaps any of the audience would like to
talk about it, like explain what you see.
What you interpreted from the piece, perhaps, or any discoveries, inspirations, or even criticism. Feel free to criticize, because here is a.
Yeah, this is the second time I show this piece as well.
But in a different version.
Yes, and like the first one was very different, and then I got inspired from the first one into like the second one. And,
She took in the feedback lah. Anybody here? Whoever is holding the mic.
Thank you for sharing this. It was very nice. I think because previously me and Aisha, one of our works also, especially her part, revolved around light as well, like light and shadow. Yeah, so it was very nice to see. Like another thing, and it's quite unconventional because it's attached, obviously, like in a very interesting manner. Because normally people do like handheld or just like fixed positions, but this is fixed in interesting ways. And I think like the shadows created from that was very interesting, especially when you were like your hind legs were on the wall. I really like the shadow that was like cast on the wall, because it made like the silhouette seem very like, it was like interesting. Like when you talk about roles, it's like the various stages of the piece, it's like the silhouettes cast like look very different depending on like the way you pose yourself. And I think, I don't know, personally it felt very visually nice to see. Yeah, especially like the transition from the first like part of the item to the second part. The first one felt more like very like strong energy, but then the second part felt more like feminine in nature. Like the shadows cast were like a bit softer and then more like rounded in nature, whereas the first one is like very like and like the movement also kind of like fit that. So yeah, very cool.
Thank you. My practice is in yoga. So actually this piece, when I first started playing, I also get inspired from yoga practice. Yeah, so like the strong energy, I think is totally correct. It was like asana, stay there 2 minutes. The energy,
With the yoga positions, I think it was quite like evident throughout the piece. I was wondering like, why is Ice there all the way, and she looks like, it looks painful, but of course it's not painful for you, but it looks painful if I were to do it. Yeah, when you, wait, where was I going with this? Yeah, it looks like you have a relationship with the light in the way that you decided to connect the light and the head, and it kind of makes sense, I guess, when you give the explanation. This is just my interpretation of how sometimes you might put yourself in a position that you wouldn't normally just because of that. Yeah, it was interesting to see like the way you're fixated on it, almost like a fly. It makes me wonder whether your relationship with the light is like you are trying to draw the light, or maybe in another sense, because the light is directly in your eye line, are you the one that is controlling the light, or is the light controlling you?
Yeah, it's a bit like a carrot at a donkey situation. Like, you're chasing something, right? But yeah, like totally up to your interpretation. Is it I'm chasing the light, or is it the light is actually connected to me? But both works, they're driven each other.
Yeah.
So,
Why the choice to like focus the piece mostly near the wall? Is it for like the shapes, or was it like to?
So in my first sharing, I was like doing it in a circle, meaning everybody sit in a circle, and then I was like dancing in a circle. So I was doing shifting left and right and up and down lah. And then I realized it's like, I have this light, right? And then, but it doesn't feel very concentrated. I don't know what to say. But it feels like I'm dancing and doing yoga with the lights in front of me. But what does it mean? A little bit more. So I try to develop my second work. I try to give myself a little bit more purpose. Why the lights? Why can't I just do like without the light and I just dance? But because there's the light, right? So I try to find like a reason. Like it would be the easiest which is like on the wall. To be honest, I don't really have enough time to think of what else. But shining onto the wall at least give me certain practice. Quite linear. I go to the left, to the right. It give me some kind of framework that I can play with. I never even play with the depth. No time for that, sorry about that. It's like, no, Irene, my friends. Yes.
Okay.
Allow.
I mean, trying this okay.
Yes, yes, of course.
因为我是从那个镜头里面看的，然后我会觉得它有时候是那个墙反而变，就是空间上面对我来说它是有个不一样，有个错觉。
It's a distorted sense of axis also because he sees it from the lens because he was assigned to be photographer.
Sorry about
所以
Sometimes you're not sure.
墙会有点像是一个地板，然后地板反而像
Floor look like
一直在
wall look like floor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Same for me also because I'm just trying to capture angles at which I can make it into a dance film where you don't know where is the floor and the wall. Once I see the seams or the cables or whatever. And the ideal scenario should be you don't have all those.
Sorry.
But again, today is today.
Casual.
还有吗？
我差不多。
差不多。Irene want to share anything?
Well, I'm not really familiar with performance arts, so but
Performing arts.
Yeah, performing arts. Sorry, but I felt a lot of tension when you were dancing, especially in the first part. I think. Was there any like significance between like the first act and the second act? Because there was also like a big pause in between, I think, and you were still moving around when the pause happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely like the changes of energy. I call it more like logical progression of the energy, where like the first part is more like yoga inspired poses, like intense, and then the movement getting more and more fluid. Like I use like shapes of like circle, circular, and changes of axis to kind of like blur the line between each pose and getting myself into like something new, and that energy like a little tornado and hurricane, and then it keep me going into like the second part, which is more fluid. So it's my intention that to make the second part is really like movement, not like a pose and yoga.
Yeah, definitely. I felt more tension on the first part. And also, I agree with the light. It was really interesting. Especially at one point, I was like looking through my phone also. And when you put like the light really down and you really see all the contrast, it's really nice on the wall, I think. But before I listened to the explanation of the concept and everything, I was actually thinking that you were fixing on the light because you wanted to chase it somehow. Like you were really like try to catch the light, but you couldn't because it's always like there was some distance that always like constant.
Firefly.
There.
Yeah. I think totally you can interpret it that way.
Yeah.
Nice imagination.
Yeah, I think in general also because the previous time also there was a comment that she could be a bit self-indulgent by doing switch on, switch off poses also. So she tried to evolve it into a more mobile mode. But when you go mobile also, with you and the light is like you say a donkey, right? But once you play with the wall, you create not only the shadows that create some sort of a bigger figure looming over her, but that is actually her. So you can read it as alter ego or whatsoever. And because there's a lot of roles to play with the hat that she's talking about, right? Whether it's herself or as a mother, herself as a dancer, herself as her
Yoga teacher.
Yoga teacher whatsoever. So I think the wall idea is a good idea because it gives her a lot of play. In the sense that she can do the yoga, but she can distort it in an upside down, in a diagonal method. At the same time also because she's wearing a light and not a light cast upon her also, so the light keeps shifting, therefore the shadows on the spot keep shifting also. Yeah, so I think it's a brilliant idea.
Thank you. It's still a work in progress, but thank you so much. You are very important as part of my process, so I really appreciate. Thank you so much, everybody.